Hi there, everyone, and welcome to another case study. And this week's case study, as always, came out of some real clients we're dealing with. And you know, we've called this around key life milestones. So you get to certain stages along your life journey, and there's milestones that are ideal to take the opportunity to add some wealth creation strategies or retirement planning strategies, but more importantly, to do some planning so that you take advantage of those milestones. And I'll go through those milestones in a minute. But the key one we're going to talk about today is what you should be doing when you're coming up to the time or you've just got there of paying off your mortgage. So this is often people in their late 40s, 50s, could be anywhere, but when you're paying off the mortgage. So as always, we have a core framework that the best financial decisions are made as part of what we call a real plan. And a real plan has these five elements. It's got goals. It's got a clear picture of where you're at. We apply the smart strategies, we put it all together in a plan, and then the secret of all of it is it's about implementation and then not making mistakes, not falling victim to all the pitfalls and traps that are out there. So let's have a look at this. We're going to do it via a case study. So this client was a couple that were around 50, so 50 and 49. And when we look at their clear picture, so we'll come back to their goals in a minute, but we'll look at their clear picture. House, $1.7 million. Debt's down to about 50 grand. Now they've got about 30 grand in their offset account. So it's effectively almost paid off and it's going to be paid off in the next little while. So they got to thinking about their retirement planning. They reached out to get some help with that. And the first thing we noticed was some of these milestones. And they're paying 4 grand a month off the mortgage at the moment. So once that mortgage is paid off, they're going to have an extra $4,000 a month. Now, as we look down, and as we talk to them, we noticed they're also at the home stretch of school fees. They've got 2 or 3 years to go, but two kids at private schools and spending about, including fees and education costs, about 40,000 a year. So that's another milestone coming up. And the other milestones, and I'll just have a look at them now, but the other milestones are things like one partner returning to work. So if someone's taken time off to potentially look after kids or to work less during the time they're looking after kids, but all of a sudden they're back returning to work or getting paid more, it's another great time where all of a sudden there's more money. Same thing with a substantial pay rise. All of a sudden there's more money. Now we know that money left to its own devices will find a home. So if we don't allocate it to something productive, we'll probably find ways to spend it and it'll just disappear and we'll miss the opportunities. Other things, selling a lump sum, business property, like we said, school fees finishing, or we've seen a lot of people these days that are renting out a granny flat and getting 4, 5, 600 a week of rent, which can be applied to strategy. So let's have a look at this strategy. Let's go back and say, okay, clear picture first up. These people have spent the last 20 years pretty much doing what a lot of us do, bringing up kids, working really hard. They're earning good money. They're earning 150,000 and 200,000 respectively. But yeah, it's been tight because they've been paying off the school fees, etc. They're spending about 140,000 a year, we work out. We never apply any judgment. You spend what you spend. Our goal is to make sure we can help our clients spend that and then some in retirement without having to worry. So that's the most critical thing. So they haven't really been in saving mode, been busy, but all of a sudden they've got this opportunity because of these milestones. So let's set some goals for them. And we'll note, a bit of cash in their offset account, super modest. And they've been typical of most people. They've been complacent about their super. They haven't been purposeful about their super. So it's just in a simple industry super fund. Hasn't actually been doing amazingly, and we can probably do better. But let's set some goals first. So we set a really simple goal. Let's just reproduce the 140,000 we think they're spending in retirement. So we go, let's have 140,000 for life. So our wonderful calculator says you would need around 2.5 million in today's dollars to get 140,000 for life. In 12 years' time, now they're about 50, so they say, yeah, they're pretty comfortable working to 62, they think. So we'll set the target at 12 years. So with inflation, that 2.5 million becomes 3.3, nearly 3.4. And spoiler alert, you can see they're not quite on track for that at the moment. So we'll look at their super, and as usual, we'll model it for where it is. So at the moment, complacency, apathy means we can't model too much of a return, but let's fix that straight away. Let's boost the return up just by a couple of percent, because we know if they get focused, intentional, and targeted, that we can easily get more than they're getting without taking silly risks, just being intentional and purposeful. So that straight away freebie adds over $250,000. Now it's easy when I say it, it's hard to do and stay doing. But yeah, it's worthwhile getting some help around that. So then we say, okay, let's take the mortgage now, 4,000 a month. And when that's finished, let's add it to super. And for the case of the case study, I'll just add 48,000 a year going into super just for one of them. We might split it in reality, but let's say one of them. And all of a sudden, their super's now up to 2.5 million. We've added 1.2 million just by getting the investment focused and then by adding more cash flow to it. Now, that's kept it simple. We may do things that are slightly more complicated that around the tax side of it, but all of a sudden we go back to our scoreboard and we say, bang, you've hit your goal. 12 years time, one strategy or two strategies here, super focused, and use the mortgage payments once they've paid off to add to super, and that's going to build a really nice nest egg. But then we'll say, let's have a look though. Yeah, would you like the opportunity to potentially have the choice to retire earlier? Now we use super because they're going to be over 60 in 12 years' time. But let's say we said, okay, let's take the school fees, and there's still a couple of years to go, but just to show them if they just took 2,000 a month. So they're spending 40 grand a year on school fees. If we loosen the belts and said, well, you keep once the school fees are done, you keep 16,000 that, add it to your holidays, lifestyle, etc. Let's take 2,000 a month and build a portfolio outside of super using dollar cost averaging. So we invest 2,000 a month with normal returns. It's going to grow and build $500,000. So that's the school fees freed up $500,000. We come back to the scoreboard and all of a sudden they're well ahead of their goal. So we say, let's cut the time back. So let's play around. Let's guess at 10 years and we bring it back and they're still not quite hitting their goal. Actually, let me get that right. 10 years, they're pretty much there, be about 10 and a half years. So all of a sudden, those school fees, let's make it 11, get them there, yeah, well and truly in that 10 to 11 year mark. So two strategies there that are based on those key milestones. So as you're thinking about the milestones you've got coming up, and don't wait for them either. You can plan ahead. So the beauty about planning is you can take away your stress and worry about your retirement planning by having a plan. So don't wait for it to happen. If you know you're going to be paying off the mortgage, even in 2, 3, 4 years, kids finishing school, going back to work, any of these milestones, get your plan together now. If you'd like some help with that, as always, yeah, feel free to reach out. And sorry, let me get the slides right. Yeah, if you'd like some help with that, feel free to reach out. You can click on the notes below or jump on our website and request a strategy session, and we will reach out to you and book a time with one of our awesome advisors. This is all we do. We've been doing this for 25 years, helping people build awesome independent retirements. Rob McGregor signing off. Until next time.